Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard. Today we've got another one of Granddad's Old Guns. This is an old Stevens. It's either a model 66 or 66A. I'm not entirely sure because there are no serial numbers on this. It was made between 1929 and 1934, probably around the 34 era, because it's not a 65, which would have been made in 29. A 65 would have had a shorter magazine tube on it, and this front lug that holds the magazine tube up would have been underneath the fore end here. So I know that it is a 66, but is it a 66A? I don't know. A 66A was a slight improvement over the 66. It is not an 066 because it would have had a special rear sight on it, or a special set of sights on it, and would have probably been a peep sight mounted on the side of the receiver here. It's got a 22-inch barrel on it, and it's just a simple bolt action rifle. And from what I gather, it was kind of made up of leftover parts from the Savage or the Stevens visible loader, just because of the way the action and everything in here works. Now, it like I said, it's just a bolt action, so it just pops up, pulls back, and it's tube fed, so there's a follower in the magazine here that actually will pop up and help eject that last shell out of there. It does have double extractors in it too, which is one of the things that was in the visible loader. It's got a rear safety on here, and this is a trigger block, and it just it's a curved piece that goes around the barrel there, and as you pull that over, it gets in the way and keeps the trigger from being able to be pulled. Now, it's a rim fire, so you don't want to dry fire it, and to just disengage it, you can hold back on the cocking piece, pull the trigger, and let that go. If you've got one in the chamber and you want to take a shot, you can pull that back and it's ready to go again. Now, most bolt action rifles, if you want to pull the bolt out to clean it and everything, you can usually pull the bolt back, pull your trigger, and then pull the bolt out. You cannot do that on this one. And I think the 66A or the 65 or 67 would have been a much better improvement, and you'd be able to do that. I don't know for sure. I don't have one. But for this one, we're going to disassemble it a little bit, not completely, but I'll show you how you're going to have to take this thing apart. If you're going to clean it, the best thing to do would be to open the action on it and run you a bore snake through there. You can get to some of the parts once we get the action out of the stock. We'll take a look at it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this takedown bolt out of there. Now, I got the Wheeler Engineering screwdriver set, and you're going to want one of these big, wide, thick, regular screwdrivers to take this out. You probably could take it out with your fingers because it is a knurled screw on there, but this one has been together for quite some time. Now, the screw is a captive unit, but it will unthread completely. So let's get this out of here. We'll get the stock out of the way. And then here's a look at the action. Now, one of the things with the action on here is you'll notice that the magazine tube moves with the bolt. So all of this is connected in here. And for you to be able to take this apart, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to unthread the magazine tube from the bolt block here. You're also going to have to knock this pin out here and take your firing pin assembly out of there. And then you're going to have to take the trigger. You're going to have to disassemble this whole thing to get it apart. And you've got a pin in there. You've got a pin holding the trigger in there. You've got the magazine tube is threaded in there, and the rear part of the bolt is also threaded in the upper part of the block there. Now, this one had a lot of machining going on with it, and probably one of the reasons why it didn't last for a very long time and was quickly changed. Only 2 models actually work like this. This is your ejector piece right here, so that when this is closed and your round is in there and you fired it, when you pull this back, that will push up on your follower there for your last round. Of course, it'll push your next round up to eject the shell out of there. And right in there are the double extractors. We'll go ahead and put a dummy round in here and see if I can give you a good view of it anyways. Kind of hard to manipulate this thing without being in the stock there. So right now we've got it in there. It's cocked. We'll go ahead and pull the trigger because I've got the dummy round in there. And it fires, and then to eject it, we will pull that out. and you can see that pushed up on it. Now this being a dummy round is not going to eject like an empty case, but it does eject out of there, and there are the 2 extractors right in there. I can do this again and show you how the 2 extractors will hold the round by taking the magazine tube out. So we've got it cocked in there, we pull it back, and there you can see the 2 ejectors actually have a hold of the rim on the case there. Now without the follower being in there, it's not going to eject it out because it needs that extra piece to push that empty case out of there. Pretty complex gun for being made in 1929, and not the easiest to take apart and clean. So if you wanted to do it without completely knocking these pins out and taking everything apart, you can take it down like this, get in here with your scrub brushes and everything, and clean everything up in there. Now I did run a bore snake through the barrel on there, and it is nice clean barrel inside, no pitting, no rust, really good looking rifling inside there. Okay, so now reassembly is going to be just as easy as taking it apart, depending on how far you took it down. We'll go ahead and put the magazine tube back in there. The bolt is already closed on it, and all we got to do is put it right back down in the stock. Just line everything up, your trigger, your lug for your bolt there, your screw, and everything should drop right down in there. Get that screw started. There we go. Like I said, this one probably has not been taken apart in many, many years. So we'll give it a little snug in there. And everything should be good to go. Now, this is chambered in 22 short, long, and long rifle. And I do have all 3 of those rounds. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take it out in the range and give it a try with some 22 long rifles and some 22 shorts, because those are some of my favorite rounds. This might be a good candidate for a restoration. It is not a very valuable gun. It's I picked this one up obviously used, and I did not pay a whole lot for it, and it is in really good shape. So as long as it shoots well, I think this may be one that we can take and clean up the stock. It's a very simple stock on there. Maybe you know, put some True Oil on it, a little bit of stain, and maybe strip all the metal down and go ahead and re-blue it. There is a little bit of very, very light pitting on here, something that'll probably clean off with a little bit of steel wool. But as long as it's functional, it'll be a good gun. Even if I left it just like it was, just keeping it clean and maintaining it would probably be a pretty nice little rifle. Very simple, very light, doesn't weigh very much at all, 22-inch barrel on it, simple sights, just a completely simple gun. All right, everybody, we're out here on the range with Grandad's old Stevens 66, number 66. I may have said model 66 in the beginning, but for some reason they didn't call them model, they called them number. I've got a little box of Norma TAC 22s out here. These are high performance target 22 long rifles, 1100 feet per second. And we're going to do a few rounds of that first, and I've got a target set up there at 10 yards right now, and it's just one of these little NRA official 50-yard small bore rifle targets. It's like a 4-inch black circle in there, and I think it's a 6-inch circle on the outside part of it there. Now, being a tube-fed magazine, you just take your inner tube there and pull it up till it clears, your follower clears the opening right there, and then just drop your rounds right in there. Now, might have to hold it up a little bit there. We'll go ahead and take that all the way out and get them to drop down in. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many rounds this thing holds. We're just going to see until the rounds come up to the opening there. That should be the number that it holds. All right, there it is all the way up to the opening, and I think that might be one too many right there. Let's see. We'll see if we can get the tube in there. If it won't go all the way in, then I need to take a round out of there. Now that follower is going to be kind of tricky because it toggles around there a little bit. Yeah, that's one too many rounds in there, so we'll take one out. And that should be as many as it needs. That means it has Looks like 13 rounds of 22 long rifle. And it closes just fine there. I'm gonna get my eyes and ears on, then we'll give it a shot. Okay, I've got two targets set up there. We're gonna be shooting at the one on the left. Bolt action, just pull the bolt back, push it in there, and I got it set up in the Caldwell Matrix here. We're gonna give it a try. And it ejected just fine. Kind of a heavy trigger pull on it. Of course, they weren't really putting precision triggers in these things back in the 30s. Looks like it could be shooting a little bit high there. And we'll do one more and then go up and look at the target. All right, I'm gonna leave that fired round in there. We'll go take a peek. I only see one little group of holes there. I can't distinguish. I can only distinguish 3 actual holes there. I'm gonna assume that all 5 of them are in there because I don't see anything outside of here. You guys seen it on the inset there, and that looks like it's pretty good to me. It is a little high and to the right. The sights could be adjusted just a little bit. Of course, you can adjust the elevation by the little ladder piece on the rear sight, and the windage is going to have to be drifted either with the front sight or the rear sight. But actually, I think I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of the shots in that thing and see how I do. I might just aim down here a little bit, see if I can get them in there, because adjusting the sight right now won't give me what I want. It'll actually pick the barrel up a little higher and make me shoot higher, because I think it is all the way down right now. Okay, I stuck an old rusty thumbtack in there, kind of the opposite of where I was hitting at. So I'm going to aim for that rusty thumbtack and see if I can put some holes right in the middle of it. It is a very short throw on this bolt here. Oh, my thumbtack fell out. And my pocket keeps getting caught on the buttstock there. And that was the last round. And that follower is kind of on a little toggle so that it pops it up like it would be another shell that's pushing the last round out of there. I see one ragged hole right there toward the center too, so that lets me know that this thing is a pretty darn good shooter. I do have another target while I've still got the 22 long rifles ready anyways. I've got another target set up there at the 15 yard, which will actually be from here about 18 yards. So we're going to give it a shot and see how it does at that longer distance. All right, I got my 22 Remington shorts here. These are little tiny things. I really love shooting shorts. They're just so much fun. Usually they're pretty hearing safe too. But I'm going to go ahead and wear hearing protection anyways, because hearing damage is cumulative. So once you lose it, you generally do not get it back. And I'm only going to put 5 rounds of the shorts in here. And by the looks of it, I did not clean this thing very well, just the bore pretty much. The inside of the tube there could probably use a little bit of cleaning because the rounds just don't seem to slide down there real well. Could be a little gunk built up in there. But just 5 rounds of the 22 shorts. I'm going to do it again from the rest here. And like I said, I'm going to be shooting at about 18 yards here, and we'll see how that does. With the shorts, I've got the shorts in there. I said I was going to do the longs, but We're going to do shorts at 18 yards. All right, we're going to give it a try. Seems to extract and feed just fine. Now I cannot see from here. Actually, it looks like it's hit a little high. Looks like it's hitting considerably high. And that was all 5 rounds of the shorts there. Handled the shorts just fine. A lot of times when you get shorts, I have had a few rifles that tend to be a little, I don't know, they just don't handle the shorts quite as well. But this one, with the double extractors on there, it wedges them right up in there, so it holds it straight, and when you go to feed it in there, it pushes it straight in there. And those extractors are in good condition on this thing because it grabs them, it pulls them right out, and that ejector pops them right out of there. Let's go look at that target real quick. I was going to do the long rifles, but I ended up doing the shorts because I just got excited about shooting shorts. Okay, now I'm only seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 holes in there, but I don't see anything outside of here, so there is a chance that I got 2 of them up there in the same hole, or pretty close anyways. 22 shorts at 18 yards, no sight adjustment or anything on it. The velocity on those is still pretty high. I don't remember exactly what it is, but so it's the same weight of bullet, so I'm not sure why it's climbing that much higher. And like I said, I cannot adjust the sight down anymore to get that there, so they're kind of still climbing as they're getting over here to the target that far away. Shoots pretty good though, I think. These old 22s like this can be a whole lot of fun, especially when you get the ones that can shoot the shorts and stuff too. I've always liked them. Every time I go into a gun store and I see one of these old things in there, it doesn't matter what brand it is or anything, as long as it's a really old one, I always thought they were really cool rifles. I put 5 more rounds of the 22 shorts in here, and from right here, I'm going to get my earplugs in, and I'm going to go ahead and take 5 shots at the 7-yard target I've got up there, the one that I originally put up there for the 22 shorts, and see how that does. Okay, 5 rounds, 22 shorts, offhand, 7-yard target. All right, pretty sure that's a squirrel getter right there. Now, one of the things I did notice when I was shooting these shorts is both times I had one round that sounded really loud and the rest of them were pretty quiet. I went ahead and continued to shoot because I did see the impact on there, so I wasn't worried about a squib load inside there. But you got to be careful sometimes with shorts, and especially the Calibris, because they can get hung up in a barrel pretty easily. Even a regular 22 long rifle round, if the powder charge isn't right in there, can get hung up. So you definitely want to make sure that your bullet made it out of the barrel before you fire your next round, especially if something sounds odd. If it does sound odd and you don't know, you really need to stop, unload the weapon, and make sure there's no obstruction in the barrel. But this one seems to do just fine, and like I said, this one is probably going to be a good candidate for a restoration at some point. I don't know when, but it will involve a full disassembly, complete stripping of it, and then a refinish on the thing. Anyways, thanks for taking a look at another one of Granddad's Old Guns. This is the Stevens Model 66, I believe. Anyways, if you could reach up here and hit this button to check out some of my other videos, and hit this little round one down here to subscribe if you haven't already, and come back again and we'll look at another one of Granddad's Old Guns.